Hello and welcome to Wildlife Cam. We had another big cold front hit the country this week, bringing snow and rain to many parts except for us. We had 3 or 4 drops of rain, so it's still very dry here, but it was cold for 3 or 4 days. We had a lot of hyena visits this week again, but mostly individuals. And when they were together, they looked like they were on serious hyena business, and so there wasn't much horsing around, biting the camera, or very little dragging branches around. You do sometimes see large groups of jackals on the reserve, 5 or 6 of them, but on our side it's usually just the 2, so this is, I think, mum and dad on the left and one of their previous offspring on the right. Quite an elaborate butt-sniffing ceremony they have, so it seems as if they'd been separated and only met up at the waterhole. Another new genet. This one looked a little bit smaller than the other, so maybe it was an offspring. So what I've decided to do with the names, because I think I did name one Genet 5 last week, is that Genet 4, which was one that only once appeared at the waterhole and I didn't have a great view of it, I've decided it's not going to get an official number until it gives me a proper view. So Genet 5 became Genet 4, and then this one becomes Genet 5, and then the one at the waterhole becomes Genet Unknown. This is a common duiker. The Sharp's Gracebook did appear on one video clip, but it wasn't a very good clip, so I'll leave that one out this week. And then a big surprise, some lions coming in for a drink. The Fourways pride minus their 2 cubs. It's been a very long time since we actually saw lions drinking at the waterhole. Now I forgot to mention last week that the big group of lions that went across the river did come back. But they have been spending a lot more time along the river in the last few months than they used to. So I have a feeling that they've been making little trips back and forth across the river, going briefly into enemy territory. Now, I don't think that these ones were part of that group, because that group was only 3 or 4 adult females and a bunch of cubs, and this is the 3 females and the young male. Now, I don't know what's happened to the 2 cubs. They're not necessarily dead, although there's a pretty good chance that they are, but they may also have left them with the other group, because they do join up quite often, and the cubs are big enough to not be completely dependent on their mothers in terms of following them around. They can ditch them with the others for a while, so we don't know. But it would be a shame if the cubs had died, because these 4 are very, very well fed. I haven't seen them so well fed in a long time. The civet seemed quite interested in where the lions had been. The same leopard that we had a couple of weeks ago was walking along exactly the same route, and it has a distinctive chevron on its front right leg. I think it's a female, but that's all I know as far as its ID goes. The hornbills don't drink, but sometimes you get lucky and you get them scratching around for insects near the edge of the pond. Forlorn looking owl hoping for some toads, but the reason there are so few toads is because the eagle owls obliterated the toads at the waterhole a couple of summers ago and they haven't really recovered. They really lack enthusiasm when there's only one of them trying to play. And then the breeding herds came back after a very long absence. Now the males are still going around smashing people's fences and gates and breaking the trees and various other parts of their properties, and they've left us alone luckily. But we haven't seen the females, I'm sure, more than a month, and we've had herd after herd coming in today. The female on the right, we haven't seen her in quite a long time, but she's missing the end of her trunk from a wire snare. And then another familiar little group, the mother with her two babies, or the bigger one's not much of a baby anymore. They don't seem to enjoy the company of other elephants. Thanks for watching.